Hello, this is Lauren Graham, and this is my comparing IFSPs, IEPs, and 504 plans video. So I'm going to start off with the IFSP, and this is used from birth to age 3, so for the little ones. And it involves family as it includes services that are meant for families. So like things that would be provided in home and or at a daycare. So families are really the center main point of this, as the F in IFSP stands for family. And then there are services for children with developmental delays or disabilities. And so this can be anything that is listed within an IFSP. Like the law, the IDEA Act usually lists out some delays or disabilities that a child might have to qualify for this. And so, like I just said, the IDEA Act and the section that an IFSP is under is Part C. And this really just outlines kind of what I was just saying is birth through age 3, the different disabilities you need to qualify, and things along those lines and the specifics of what an IFSP might look like. And this is really beneficial because it gives families strategies and routines to implement at home, as well as services in home, which is really, really great for them. And a specific example of this could look like a child isn't speaking yet and they're 2 or 3. An IFSP would be implemented, and either a speech therapist could come to their house, or there's different strategies you can implement at home and things like that. Next, an IEP. This is used from 3 to grade 12. It's for children with disabilities and is more standardized. And what I mean by standardized is there's more of a layout. Like it has measurable goals, accommodations, and modifications that would be required to be written down. So it's not that all children will have the same IEP because an IEP is individualized, but there are more requirements around what is needed for that child. And then, kind of like I said before, the IDEA Act is a part of that, and it just outlines pretty much what I just said, along with more details. And it is found in Part B. And this is so beneficial because it gives children an individualized education. Like if a child has autism, they're not able to access the same amount of information unless they have an IEP or a special ed teacher that can really help them and break down the information to a way that is digestible for them. So it's really helpful. And then lastly, a 504 plan. It's used uh, K through 12 and sometimes into higher education, so college. It's solely for educational accommodations. Like my brother had a 504 plan, and the accommodations he needed were just to take tests alone in a room or to be able to fidget around more because he had ADHD. So things like that. And he must have a disability to qualify. Again, that's laid out in the Section 504. And the law is the Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act. The Rehabilitation Act really just prevents discrimination under almost all categories, honestly. And then Section 504 specifically applies to education, which is why accommodations are available. And it's easy to remember because 504 plan, the 504 section. And then it is created and implemented by school staff. So there's not a lot of family intervention. I mean, families can suggest things, but from my research, I found that it is really the school staff that's in charge of this. And it gives accommodations to students who may need them. Like my brother really needed it because he wasn't able to access a quality education unless he had those accommodations. So the similarities between an IEP and 504 plan were that they were used throughout a child's formal education. IEP is 3 to grade 12, 504 is K through 12, and even into college. And then similarities between IFSP and IEP, they are both created with collaboration with families, teachers, and other needed professionals like a therapist or a doctor, and then they're both under the IDEA Act. And then I couldn't find under the categories that were researched, I'm sure there are similarities between the IFSP and 504, but I just couldn't find any under these specific qualifications. And then they all have in common, they all provide accommodations for children who need it. Together, they cover a child's whole academic timeline, so from birth to even college level. And then they're all for children with disabilities or delays. So it's really important, and each of them provides a different thing for those students. Accommodations, individualized education, or family involvement is all really, really great. And that is pretty much all I have. Thank you for listening.